everybody, it's Dr. Jo and Remy. Yes, I know. Oh, goodness. And today we're going to show you some stretches and exercises for an anterior pelvic tilt. So let's get started. You want to get started? Okay. Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert. So often with an anterior pelvic tilt, you have tight hip flexors and or weak hamstrings. So let's start off by stretching out your hip flexors. The best way to do it, or the easiest way to do it, is to get up into a lunge position. The side you want to stretch is going to be down. So I'm stretching my right side. You want to make sure that your upper body is nice and upright. If you're leaning forward with the stretch, then you're really not going to get those hip flexors. So keep your upper body upright. Put your foot out far enough where you can stay nice and stable, and then shift your whole body forward, and you should feel a stretch through the front of the hip there. So this is a stretch where you want to hold it for 30 seconds and do that 3 times. So I'm going to switch sides so you can see it on this side as well. So right here where that hip flexor is, when you come forward, keeping that upper body nice and upright, you should feel that stretch right through there. So again, holding that stretch for 30 seconds, doing that stretch 3 times. So this next stretch is going to be a quad / hip flexor stretch. So it starts off as a quad stretch, and then you can add in a little bit more to get the hip flexor. So make sure you have something sturdy to hold on to, because you don't want to lose your balance for this one. Hopefully you'll have enough flexibility just to kind of grab your foot here. You can grab it by starting here, but you want to really get that thigh down this way when you're going in for the stretch. If you're stretching here, you're not really getting that quad stretch. So if you hold it straight downwards this way, you're going to get a good quad stretch. If you want to add in the hip flexor stretch, pull your leg back just a little bit more to get that hip flexor as well. But make sure you're not leaning forward like this, because then you're taking the stretch out of it. So you want your upper body to be pretty upright, and just kind of, what I do is I push my foot into my hand, which brings my leg back a little bit more. And since this is a big stretch, you want to hold it for 30 seconds. So if you feel like that's a little bit too much, just really get that quad and then push a little bit to get those hip flexors as well. So 30 seconds doing that 3 times. So now we're going to strengthen the hamstrings. A good way to strengthen hamstrings is just to lie down on the floor and do a simple bridge. So bridging, you want to have your feet about shoulder width apart. You can just place your hands down beside you or in your lap, whichever one's more comfortable, and then just slowly come up. And so you're working those hamstrings and your glutes underneath here. Try and get to about level. You don't want to arch your back, but you want to get up fairly high, and then slowly come back down about 1 segment at a time. So nice and smooth, but coming down kind of at an angle 1 segment at a time, not just plopping back down. So coming up and then nice and slowly coming back down. So if you can get to 20-25 bridges and they're easy and you're going in a slow, controlled motion, then you can start strengthening the hamstrings more by doing a single leg bridge. And so just whatever side you want to, you can pick up, and then you're still coming up into that bridge and then nice and slowly coming back down. And so that's just going to work each side a little bit more. And then so do 5 or 10 on one side and then switch and do 5 or 10 on the other. So now we're going to get on all fours in the quadruped and work the glutes and the hamstrings together. So make sure you're in a good, comfortable position where your shoulders are pretty close to above your hands. So your hands are below your shoulders, because if you're too far out or you're too far in, you're going to start putting a lot of pressure on your shoulders, and you don't want to work one thing and then end up making something else sore. So the first one is just going to be a kick out. And so all you have to do is just get nice and steady and then kick one leg out and come back in. So the goal of this is to try not to lean over on that side when you're kicking out, but really keep everything nice and stable, just lifting a leg and kicking it back out. So just alternating sides, or you can do them all on one side, do 10 on one side and then do 10 on the other. But I like kind of alternating back and forth and then resetting. And then so after you do about 10, 15 of those, then you're going to bring your leg up like this where your foot's towards the ceiling, and then just push upwards this way. So with this one, I'd probably do all on one side, just 10 and then switch and then do 10 on the other side. So now you're just going to stretch out your low back. A great way to stretch out the low back is just to do a prayer stretch, or some people call it the child's pose. So just kind of getting back here on your knees, and if your knees are not very comfortable, you can start higher up if you don't have a lot of flexibility, but if you have some nice flexibility, just kind of sit back on your feet, put your arms straight out in front of you, and just come all the way down, resting your head on the floor. So since this is a stretch, stretching that low back, hold this stretch for 30 seconds. This one's nice. It just kind of stretches out that whole back, especially the low back area. If you've got that tilt, this is going to be tight in that area, so this is just a great stretch to do. So after the 30 seconds, come up and then do that a total of 3 times. So next you want to strengthen your abdominal muscles. So a simple crunch will do. You can either put your hands back behind your head, or some people like to cross them over their chest. I personally like to just kind of put it behind my head just to have a little bit of support there. So with crunches, you're really doing all the work at your core. You're not using your arms. They're just there for support. So you don't have to come all the way up, but I like to just go nice and slow. So you're making those core muscles, those abdominals activate. So just starting off with like 10 to 15 and then working your way up from there. If you want to do a little bit of an angle, you can go side to side, taking that elbow over to the opposite knee, and do maybe 5 or 10 on each side, or again, you can just kind of go up and down, but make sure it's nice and controlled. You don't have to go all the way up. You're just trying to activate those core muscles to get them strong again. So these last exercises are going to be a little bit higher level exercises. They're going to strengthen the glutes and your hamstrings as well as your quads. So if you're not quite ready for these, that's okay, but I'm putting them in here just in case you're ready for them. So the first one is just going to be a simple squat. If you feel like you're a little bit off balance, make sure you have something nice and sturdy to hold on to. If you don't need to hold on to anything, that's fine. You can also go in front of the chair and have the chair behind you so you can use it if you want to sit all the way down. If you don't feel like you can come back up, you can just sit in the chair. But for a squat, you want your feet to be about shoulder width apart. And when you're going down, try and keep your feet flat with weight equal. So you don't want them to be all back on the heels, you don't want them to be all on your toes, but you want it to be equal weight on your heels and your toes. Really stick your bottom back when you're going down, because you don't want your knees going in front of your toes here. You really want to stick that booty back so your knees aren't going in front of your toes. So still keep your back fairly straight, but you can bend forward at your hips almost like a hinge. So going down and coming back up. So if you need to hold on to the chair, again, you can, so you can really work on good form. So those knees aren't going in front of the toes, and you're going down and back with your booty, kind of to offset and bringing that chest forward just a little bit. So again, if you're not quite ready to go down into a deep squat, you can do some mini squats, but when you're ready, just make sure your technique is right when you're doing the squat. And then the last one is a lunge. So same thing, it's really working the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, all of those muscles around the pelvis. So if you've got that anterior pelvic tilt, you want those muscles to be strong. Same kind of concept with the lunge. You really want to have good technique, and you can do short lunges first and then go into deeper lunges. But you want to make sure, again, if you need to hold on to something, you can. If you don't need to hold on to it, that's fine. Put your feet forward. So the back foot isn't turned out. A lot of people want to turn it out, but keep the feet facing forward. Again, your knees shouldn't go in front of your toes, and your back knee should go straight down, keeping your upper body upright. So you're just going down into this position and coming back up. So I'll show you this way. Just straight down and back up. If you're not ready to have that knee touch the floor, that's fine. Just do some mini lunges. But once you're ready, make sure you have that good technique where you're going straight up and down. I know, those were tiring, weren't they? So those were your stretches and exercises for an anterior pelvic tilt. If you'd like to help support my channel, make sure and click on the link to find out how up here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking down here. I know. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.